Yeah. What, I gotta redo what I just said?
Chair, yeah.
I think you're okay.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah, because if we don't need the chairs, then we can,
Okay, so, the real concept is, again, 17 years ago, what we had going for us is there wasn't too much to this company, so you knew exactly what it took. You could decide not to do it, but you knew exactly what it took to make a six-figure income, to make a lot of money in this business. And whether I was doing it or not, I could sit down with anybody and tell them what they would need to do to make a six-figure income. And the challenge now, because we have so many university concepts and shop.com and all this other stuff, what we leave there, I don't think have a real clear idea. If somebody sat in front of them and said, look, how do I make a six-figure income? How many feel that they could tell them exactly what they need to do to make a six-figure income in 3 years? And that's the challenge, right? All right, so I'm just going to go back to the good old days. Tom Holden said it best. This is a very simple business, or should be. Didn't say it's easy. I just said it's a very simple business, right? And what is the business? The business is sell $200 a quarter, right? Our goal is 10 to 15 customers to make that happen without a problem, right? But then it's to find 2 others that do what?
Do the same.
What's that?
Do the same thing.
That's right. 2 others that will do $200 a quarter in sales, and find 2 others. And then what do?
Do it again.
Find 2 others that will do $200 a quarter in sales that will lead to 2 others. And then what do? Find 2 others that will do $200 a quarter in sales that will eventually lead to 2 others to do $200 a quarter in sales. That is the entire business. That will get you to a six-figure income. And when I started 17 years ago, it was a lot easier to get to that because we only had a few things, so you weren't distracted, right? And that's where, after 2 to 3 years of consistently doing that, now the average business makes between $300 and $3,600 a week after 2 to 3 years. All right, too many people are saying it's a six-figure after 3 years. It can be, but the range is $300 to $3,600 a week after 2 to 3 years. So that's a big range. You know why? Because it's a big range. After 2 to 3 years, we see that that's the big range, okay? But if you stop doing things for a month or 2, just know the 2 to 3 year plan starts over again, all right? But if I'm sitting with somebody that says, look, I want to be at a six-figure income in 3 years, can we do that? Is that possible?
Yep.
So I got to be able to show somebody, I got to be able to look them in the eye and say, this is exactly what it takes on a part-time basis that's very reasonable and very doable, okay? And how do you do that? Well, 3 years is 36 months. So 36 months, I want to get you to six-figure income. Now, it doesn't start the day you register. It starts the day that you make the decision, or you sit in my office and say, look, I'm ready. I don't care. It can start before you even register. It's when you're mentally prepared to get through the numbers to get to a six-figure income. Now, in 17 years, the stats that I've seen have not really changed. To me, for every 10 plans, usually 4 to 6 are interested, but only 1 out of 10 usually register in the business. All right, are those reasonable numbers? Have you guys found that that's about the numbers? Yes or no? Okay. So the crazy part is, the hard thing is, I've got an engineering degree, and we all understand compounding growth, right? We know what the chart looks like. But the reality as humans, we really can't think in the compounding terms, right? We can do the charts and whatever, but the reality is humans really think linearly, okay? So it's hard to really conceive of the compounding ability, okay, that's out there. And that's why you got to kind of draw it out. But my goal is, if Ed's going to sit in my office and say, look, I'm ready. Number one is you can't commit to me for 6 months, right? You can't even commit to me for a year. I need a 2-year or more commitment. 2 years or more. Everybody write that down. If you want to make the big money in this, enough with the 6 months or if it sounds like I'm yelling at you, I apologize. I just get pretty intense.
All good.
Beat us up, man.
Yeah, everybody wants the money, and I'll go to that meeting when I can, when the business will pay for it. All right, I'll give you 6 months and see what happens. I'll do, both those meetings once I hit a certain income. No, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. People will subconsciously catch on to the weakness. That's the one thing I can probably tell you, again, something of me that maybe I don't see everybody do, but 17 years ago, when you sat with me, you knew I was going to do this with or without you. At no point was there weakness of going, there's words you can say, well, we're going to see if this is going to happen, or, man, I'm ready to put a year into it and, see what happens, or none of that garbage. Like, dude, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I've studied this, I've looked at it, this is what I'm doing, and you're going to really benefit if you want to come with me. If it's not for you, that's okay. But at no moment in 17 years had anybody ever looked at Dan Hurley and thought, I don't know if he's going to do this or not. I don't know if he's going to stick to this or not. All right? Like the sun rising, everybody that's ever interacted with me with this business knew this is what I'm doing. That just as a fact. Does that make sense? That fact alone will bring people with you. If you're wishy-washy in any way, I don't know how to build a business. Okay? But part of that is you're committed to going to all the locals. All right? You're committed to going to the UBPs. You're committed to going to the big events. All right? You've got to be committed to going to those first before the people will come with you. All right? So you need a 2-year commitment that you're doing all of those things without question, whether you have a guest or not. Okay? You have to decide that you're doing those. Once you've decided you're doing those and have made the commitment, it's funny, people will start coming along with you, right? Who do you think is better to team up to the gym with, me or Justin? That's so funny. Does anybody have a question that Justin is going to keep going to the gym? That Justin is going to keep eating well? That Justin knows what to do to be healthy and to lose weight and whatever? Right? Who are they going to follow, me or Justin? Justin, that's how you got to be in this business. Without question, people have to look at you and know this is what you're doing. And the funny thing is, once you become that mentally, people will start showing up out of the woodwork. It is the weirdest thing. And I'm not really, that spiritual, but I do believe in this whole energy thing. When you put the correct energy out there, good or bad, that's what comes to you. When I've sat down with people that said, I'm ready, I just got goosebumps thinking about it. I'm just saying, when I have people that said, I'm like, I'm ready, I'm doing a 2-year commitment, you got me, I'm going to everything, I'm doing everything with you, it always works. It's when they sit down with me and they're wishy-washy and they're not sure, or they'll give me a few months, or they'll show up to a couple of UBPs, they'll maybe go to a local seminar every once in a while. It still can work sometimes, but man, it is 10 times harder to do this business with a partial commitment versus a full commitment. Okay? That's just number one. That's the number one activity you got to do is mentally be on board. Are you gonna go with, to the gym with Justin? Look, Justin, I'm ready to put 3 days to this. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
very true. It's a journey.
Or he's just gonna look at me and say, Dan, look, love you to death, brother, but you gotta give me a year. Don't be giving me 3 months. You're just wasting my time and your time. Right? Okay? I mean, it's the same thing. You've got to be committed. You got to be committed to go. Okay. So once somebody's committed, that's month 1. I don't care where they're at. And what we've got to do is we've got to get plans. Now again, the plans, we did the recording. Did they just watch a PowerPoint on math? Did they just read how to do math in a book? How do kids learn math?
Show your work. Do it.
They gotta draw it out, don't they?
Yeah.
And do they do it one time? How many times do they do it?
Over and over.
Over and over and over and over and over. And you know when they really get math? You know when they really understand it? Is when they go to school and they help their friend understand math. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with this plan. You've got to get to the point where you can draw it out. That's when you're going to really own this. But it's when you go out and show the plan to somebody. I don't even need you, if you're new, to show the plan to try to recruit somebody. You're showing the plan to somebody so that you can understand the plan better yourself. So my brand new people, I have them show a plan to a couple people that they're not trying to recruit. All right, great grandmother, the 18-year-old babysitter, I don't care what it is. I just need them, without me there, to struggle through to draw out the plan. Okay? And then they're going to come back and say, man, I thought I got it. How many people thought they get it? And then once they drew it out, they're like, wow, I was stuck. I actually didn't know that. What happens there? And then I answer that and I send them out there to go show the plan to somebody. And you can ask anybody for that favor. Look, I need a favor, Bill. I just got to draw this thing out. I just need a warm body there so when I'm drawing out, you can tell me, that you not understand what I'm saying. And it's not for Bill, it's so that I can understand whether I understand the plan or not. So your brand new person, you need to have them do that with a couple people so that they own the business. Now, when we're actually prospecting, I don't want them out there drawing out the plan or showing the plan without me, okay, or without the team. I just need them to do that and draw it out a few times so that they really internally understand the business plan. Okay, you know what our number 1 product is?
The plan.
Our business plan. I mean, people say OBC all the time. I get it, all right. But if our plan was, the same as Ambit, or an MLM, we wouldn't be here today. Even if we had OPC, we wouldn't be here today. You know why? Because there's companies that have gone out and copied OPC, and those companies are still no longer in business. You know why? Because they just use an MLM plan. Our number 1 product is our business plan. And if all you're doing is showing the business plan, now again, when I say showing the plan, go back to the video we talked about. Showing the plan is not just drawing it out. The beginning of the plan is getting to know people, right? Me and Justin sat down with the guy, man, we spent 20 minutes, talking about what he's doing and him feeling really great. I mean, my favorite book, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Everybody should read that book or reread it again. Okay, and it just talks about if you show that they matter, if you show you're interested in what they're doing, they'll do whatever they can for you after you've done that. So part of showing the plan is looking at the person as a human and having a conversation and figuring out what they're about and what they do and this, that, and the other. And if they can tell you really, but this, that, and the other, and if they can tell you really are in the moment when they're talking, then they will reciprocate the favor. Does that make sense? That's part of showing the plan. Yeah. Okay, then showing the plan, it doesn't have to be the exact way, it doesn't have to be the way. Showing the plan is whatever jazzes you up about the plan, whatever you love the most about the plan, that's what you talk about. It's not the exact structure of it, right? If it's the fact that BV gets downloaded, then that might be the biggest thing. If it's the fact that we're building vertically, if it's the fact that BV lasts for a year, who knows? But when you draw the plan or you show the plan, it's just things that you love the most about the business. That makes sense? And then all of it's a waste if you don't do the follow-up. And again, we know 9 out of 10 people are not going to do the business, and that's okay, but I'm going to try to follow up with everybody, right? And, my goals, I got 3 major goals. Goal number 1 is I want to show the plan to everybody. I do not pre-qualify anybody. I'm telling you right now, and I hear people doing it all the time. I hear them talking about a convention, pre-qualifying this, that, or... Now, you don't want to spend a lot of time with the wrong people. I'm just telling you, when it comes to showing the plan, I will show the plan to anyone. That makes sense? What is my goal of showing the plan? My only goal of that meeting is to get the follow-up. And the funny thing with that is, I would say 50% of the time, I don't even get through the full plan, right? Or do some kind of skeleton of the plan or some basic of the plan. My goal is not to show the whole business plan. It's too much as it is anyways, but you can't get into requirements and the requirements of the trainings and this, that, and the other in one session unless somebody's really dragging it out of me. So we already have a reason to sit down again, don't we? Okay? And then, you're setting that follow-up. What is my ultimate goal with the person I'm showing the plan to?
To lead to his people. Get to their people.
What's my ultimate goal?
Next meeting.
Okay, we're going to keep booking follow-ups. For you that know it, don't say it.
Oh, sorry.
For the newer people. What is my ultimate goal? I'm meeting with Joe. And I've met with him a couple times. What is my goal with Joe?
What does Joe know?
Right? Too much of us we want Joe to register. We make registration our goal, and that's the biggest mistake I think you can make. Because I've seen it over and over. When we make the goal for him to register, and he registers, what happens after that? Nothing, because we've reached our goal. I've seen it all the time, and I get it, because our goals are to get activated and this, that, and the other. I can't tell you how many times that I've seen once people got activated, nothing happened. They did the hardest part of the business, finding their 2 people, they got activated, woo, it's a big party, got our first check, this, that, and the other. You know what happens after that? Nothing, because mentally they felt they hit their goal. So between you and your team, you have to make sure that this is the most important part. I'm meeting with them to show the plan, and every time I meet with them, my entire goal is to get a follow-up, right? My goal is for them to lead me to others. That's the goal. So is the goal ever met? No.
It just keeps going.
And that's why it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. Okay? When we met with your guy, my ultimate goal with him, our goal was to get through him to who he knew. And when you decide who to work with or not, I might have people that show up all the time, but if they're never leading to other people, I can plug them in, I can love them where they're at, I'll match their energy, but I can't spend a lot of time with the person that is not leading me to others. That make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll usually spend 90 days with somebody, but man, after 90 days, if somebody's not leading me to others, you must move on. Plug them in, love them. You can match their energy forever. I mean, look, I've been doing this long enough. I've been doing 17 years. So I've got hundreds of people that call me once a year to do what? Maybe show the plan for them once a year. Will I take it? Absolutely, because that's hundreds of plans that get shown still. But I can't drag them across the finish line, right? But I'll show plans. Man, you never know who that's going to lead to, right? All right, but after 90 days, you can only match people's energy. All right? Questions or concerns on any of that? So for all of this to work, we have to be leading to others. If they're not leading to others, look, we can convince a lot of people to register in the business, but it doesn't get you anywhere if nobody's leading to other people. Does that make sense? Okay, so you got to keep that mentally. So my goal is when somebody sits in and says, look, I want to get to a 6-figure income in 3 years. I know it's possible. How do I do it? Well, my number one goal is within 4 months to get that person activated or to lead to 2 others. Statistically, what do I have to probably do with this person to lead to 2 others. I'll show the plan how many times? 20 times. We need 20 plans. So in 4 months, there's about, there's a little bit more than 4 weeks in a month, right? So there's about 18 weeks in a quarter, right? Maybe more?
Yeah, around this one.
So what are we really talking about? 1 plan a week. You want to make a 6-figure income between you and your team, you need to show 1 plan a week. Because if we've shown 1 a week after 18 weeks, we're probably close to our 2 people, aren't we? Are we asking anybody to do anything unreasonable for a plan a week? Now, for your new person, you're never going to get anywhere until you do step 1. What do you think step 1 is for a person? Gotta make a names list. Who are we going to share the plan to? Does that make sense? Okay, so if you want to make the big money, don't come to my office for 10 names. Okay, you're going to have 60 to 100 names, and then we're going to work on warm and fuzzy ways to maybe get the plan in front of them. Okay, and that's all the things, that's the micromanaging that I think is so important with this business is, you've got to work through people's names list. Right? You've got the direct approach, get your butt over here, you got to see this. Evaluation approach, this looks really good, I trust your opinion. Come check this out, maybe you can give me some pointers. Referral approach, do me a favor, see what I'm doing. If you own a Subway restaurant, wouldn't I refer people to your restaurant? Well, I need you to see what I'm doing so maybe you could refer people to me, right? Product approach, 50% of the people that join this business join because of a product, okay? And then they have on their video approach, it's kind of like worst case scenario, they won't give you any time, send them a link to the video or something like that, that's fine, All of it can work, it's just that's not going to work as well. I'm not going to use that as my number 1 method, that's your last case method. Now, one that you'll never see, and it's the one I've used from day 1, is what I call the challenge approach. Okay, I think it's been the number 1 easiest way for me to get people in front of me. Okay, meaning, today start thinking about it. How many plans are you going to get in front of people, by regional convention? Okay, it should be about 20 plans. All right, so I've been challenged by somebody who's made over $1 million in this business. Okay, he's willing to work with me anytime I reach out and say, hey, I need help, he's going to help me, but I have to do my part. And I told him I'd get this business, expose this business concept to at least 20 people, by November. Right? I need a favor. I'm in this challenge. Right? That's an approach. Can I steal 45 minutes of your time because I'm in this challenge? I've got to expose this internet franchise concept to at least 20 people in the next 3 months. Can I steal 45 minutes of time? All you got to do is sign off that I sat with you. I love that approach because it takes the pressure off the person. They're not sitting down to see if this is for them or not, right? They're just doing you a favor. Okay, one of my favorite approaches is what I call the challenge approach. So is it reasonable if somebody is really willing and wants to make the money that we can do 1 plan a week, average? Obviously, if you're doing home kickoffs or some, whatever, sometimes you have 4 or 5 people in 1 week. And there'll be other weeks you might not have anybody in front of you. That's the one thing I can honestly say that we did 17 years ago. We did home business presentations all the time. We had presentations where there were 2 or 3 in a day going on. We've had them in the day. We had to do a 6 o'clock one and an 8 o'clock one. For the people that couldn't make it at 6, we did an 8 o'clock one. Okay, I'm just telling you, we didn't know how powerful it was. That's just what we did. I pull out my old calendars. When we barely had 40 people in the business, a lot of times we had 3, 4, 5, 6 HBPs a week going on. There's got to be 2,000, 3,000 people in Western New York at this, and we look at the calendar and maybe every other week there's a home kickoff going on. I'm just telling you, big difference. You guys have seen my calendar, some of you guys. Corings, kickoffs, all those things, they were going on every day. There's all kinds of things to plug into, and it's the lifeblood. But that's one of the shortcuts. If you do HVPs, and I think any new person, let me phrase that, not every. A lot of people can do HVPs. there are some people that should not do HBPs, I believe, okay? There are just some situations that's just not very good, all right? You know, and you know what I'm talking about, right? There's some people that have people over to their house or whatever, the environment's conducive to that. There are other situations where there's 3 dogs and 6 kids and, you know, it's just pure chaos, you know, that just may not fit. And that's okay, you're just gonna be doing more 1-on-1s, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s. Does that make sense? But if it's conducive to an HBP, it's very uncomfortable for the new person, but it's the most effective thing. Because if I'm gonna show you up at your house with 4 of the team members and we're gonna show the whole business for you, do you think you're gonna work a little bit harder to make sure you have guests there? It's uncomfortable, but guess what happens? You end up having guests there, right? And if we book 2 HBPs at a time and at least a product preview, motives, wine and wellness, whatever you wanna call it, but you should book like those things, 2 HBPs and at least 1 product thing, you know, for a new person. Because then if you're going to be reaching out to people, you have at least 3 things for them to plug into, and you better have the calendar, because I don't want to call you every time I have an event going on, okay? I want to, once I'm on the phone with somebody, I want to nail them down. And with our calendar of events, there's always something, isn't there? So that's not going to work, then maybe it's a UBP, or maybe it's one of the corings, or maybe it's a local seminar coming up, or 12 months. You have 8 people plus 4, so you're at 12, plus 2 more is 14, right? Plus yourself. So let's say there's about 7 partners per side. It's never going to be equal, right? Is it reasonable to show or say that the average franchise can do 100 BV per month?
Yes.
Does anybody have any issues with that?
No.
Between personal use, a customer, or whatever, at this point, 100 BV a month, is that too much to ask or think in whatsoever? And it really wasn't even back then, right? You did OPC and a multi, that's 100 BV basically. Okay, so it hasn't really changed. The difference is the average franchise owner does a lot more now than they ever did. That's because as Market America brings on more products that people are using anyways, the average BV per franchise goes up, doesn't it? Just the fact, if let's say everybody was doing this and then they just bring on essential oils, okay? If it's not a replacement product, right? If they're gonna get a better formulated multi, that's not gonna, you know, increase your average BV. But when they bring on a brand new product line that people are buying anyways, that brings the averages up of the average franchise owner, right? So just bringing on daily, you know, essential oils, maybe now the average goes up by 5 BV a month. Not everybody's going to do it, right? And it's spread out, and they last longer, and this, that, and the other. But can you see how every time they bring on a new product, the averages would go up? Any questions or concerns about using this number? So I'm going to prepare the new person going, look, if you have 7 partners on the left and 7 on the right, doing 100 BV per month, you're doing about 700 BV per side per month. So you're not even making $300 a month after a year, are you? You're maybe making $300 every 6 or 7 weeks. I need to prepare somebody for that, right? This guy's on track for a 6-figure income, but I need to let them know after a year, you still only be making maybe $300 every 6 or 7 weeks. Everybody go with this? Has anybody torn the world on fire doing this? Is that reasonable that you can see anybody doing? I mean, when we got to here, did we change the formula? Did we do anything different?
No.
So what are we going to do 4 months later? Same thing. And these 8 are going to turn into 16. Now, once again, it's not that everybody of these brand new 8 are going to get 2 each within 4 months. This person got their 3rd. This person got their 2nd finally. This person brought another one in, right? This one did get 2. This one got 4. This one got 1. This one got none. And we see how the numbers work themselves out? And it works itself out even better because we build vertically. Okay? Am I yelling?
Okay.
16 turns into what?
32.
32 new people. 32 turns into what? 64 new people. So now, year 2, we have 64 people plus 32. So we're at 96 plus 16, etc., 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 right? If you actually do the number, it's 63 and 64. Right? Because you still have these 32, don't you? And these 16, and these 8, and these 4, and this, right? Okay? So in a perfect world, you should have about that. I know it's not going to build equally in this and the other. I also know we have about a 20% attrition rate. People drop out of marriages, people drop out of school, people drop out of jobs, people drop out of this. But I'm going to figure that in there. It's about a 20% dropout rate. So if I took 20% off of this, and it's an easier number, it's about 50 partners per side. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay, and this is never going to be exact. I get that. I'm just trying to get people laser focused. Has anybody done anything extravagant here? Is there any reason that this should take you 40 hours a week? Okay? It's 1 plan a week average per person. And now 3 of these guys are helping these guys, and 2 of these people are helping these people, and these guys are helping these guys, and right? Okay? 50 turns into what? So we went back and we dropped it down to 50. 50 turns into what? 50 turns into what?
100.
Right? And again, it's not 50 getting 2. These guys got some more. These guys got some more, right? This, that, and the other. 100 turns into what? 200 turns into what? So 3 years later, and again, it's always one number less if you double it. So if there's 400 new people, and you added up 200 and 100 and this, it's basically 399. Okay? Well, let's say you got halfway there, and you got to 200 partners per side. Halfway there. Right? Every time I'm showing you this, I'm taking it away. I'm making it a little bit easier every time, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
So if you got 200 people doing how much per month? 100 BB per month is how much total BB per month? $200 partners doing 100 BV each is 20,000 BV per month per side, yes? Wow, where did that come from? That's called compounding growth. After a year, you're barely making $300, right? Year 2, if you have 50 partners per side doing 100 BV per month, that's 5,000 BV per side per month, or you're making about $1,500 a month in year 2, right? Okay. Year 3, you're just doing the same thing, aren't you? Has anybody done anything different? 20,000 BV a month. How many weeks a month in Cheektowaga? Is there 4 weeks?
4.
5,000 BV per week, or you're making $1,500 a week? Yes or no? Do you think with 200 partners per side, you're probably hitting bonus checks?
Yeah.
Maybe re-entries?
Yeah.
Are you at a 6-figure income? Yes or no?
Yep.
Tell me one thing anybody had to do. Tell me one superstar you needed. Tell me one thing we did unreasonable. Okay? The biggest thing is we kept the team laser focused on doing what more than anything? Showing the plan. Guess what? If you are showing the plan all the time, you know the coolest thing? It solves everything. You know why? Because every time you're showing the plan, are we showing product? Yes or no? Yeah. So do you think if we're showing enough plans, we're going to get our customers? Okay. You know the funniest thing about all this? There's people, we got a 20% dropout rate. But a lot of those still buy product. Who are they going to buy it from?
You.
Yeah, your team. So if plans are being shown, it solves everything. Now, over time, you're plugging them into new distributor trainings, right? And basic fives and all of that. That's what's keeping the team and the group and the growth going. Okay? But tell me one thing that we've done that's hard to do. Now, you want to see some cool things? When I started, I think the average did about 112 BV. So this was very pertinent, because there's some that do 600 BV a month, right? There's some that do barely 50, et cetera, right? So when I started, it was about 112. I think the last time when I had heard from the company, like 10 years ago, the average was up to 256 BV per month. So now if the average franchise owner is doing over 200 BV per month, so in this case, I know it's messy, sorry, but in this example, when I showed this 17 years ago, to make a six-figure income in this business, you needed 200 partners on your left and 200 partners on your right that were active in the business, and that was a six-figure income. We knew exactly what it was going to take. I had charts on my wall, just counting up the distributors all the time, right? I'm just saying, your goal, I needed the address. What was the address? Six-figure income, you need 200 per side, you need 400 partners in your business. But now if the average was doing 200, how many partners do you need in your business per side?
Yeah.
100 partners doing 200 BV average is 20,000 BV.
Super cool.
We hit six figures. I hit it in 4.5 years. Shannon hit it in 18 months. When the average did 112. It takes half the amount of people, but we're not seeing people hit it as quick. Why? Why?
We're not showing the plan.
That's right. We're too distracted. We're busy in all these university things and all these peripheral things and all this shop that, and trust me, I love all those things, but we're spending so much time on that, and we feel like we're doing the business, but plans are not getting shown. That's the only difference. The plan is the exact same. It's only better, right? Because after that, they added IBV, haven't they? Okay. And they've added more products. So this is where the shopping annuity comes in, because this is the way JR thinks. How much is the shopping annuity? How much BV?
500.
500. Now we're not there yet as an average, but if the average franchise owner was doing 500 BV, how many partners do you need to get to a six-figure income?
20.
You only need 40 partners per side. 40 partners per side if their average is doing 500 BV to get to a six-figure income. Now, do you think when that starts happening, it allows all this to happen better and faster and easier?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, now we're not at the average of 500. If I were to guess, we're probably at about 300 BV. Is that way better? Okay, so you need about 70 partners, okay, to get to a six-figure income. 70 partners.
It's so
Per
doable.
side.
So doable by anyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the only reason we're not seeing it, you need so many less people, and you gotta remember, every time Market Emerge is the shopping annuity. And now, just like Lisa Grant said, they are way more focused on bringing on more things that are BV, not just IBV. So what happens when suddenly we have toilet paper that's BV?
Less people.
I'm just saying, right? So maybe now the average, it might only go up. If it's at 300 now, Maybe it only goes up 3 PV. But then what about when they have, other products, right?
Yeah,
There's
toothpaste.
toothpaste and cereal, and deodorants and, you name it, right? All these little bits and pieces make this go higher and higher. So that's why JR is so focused on this, because he knows the compounding effect that will happen and how much faster people will get to a 6-figure income, right, when the averages go up. I think the number one thing that's been missing in it all is they stop talking about this.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if the average is doing 300. If no business plans are being shown, you're not compounding.
Right.
You're not growing. Does that make sense? And we don't have control of all that. What we have control of is getting plans in front of people, in front of anybody, in front of everybody. Now there's another thing that keeps us from working. If you're the only one that ever shows the plan, you're going to get to this and this and this and maybe this, possibly as far as this. But if you're not duplicating, if you don't have other people showing the plan with or without you, that's where you also see groups of people stall, right? I've seen rooms full of people, this many people, and there's only 1 or 2 people really out showing the plan. That's when you stall, and that's when you're just building linearly, okay? You can still get away with, because you got these 30 plus these 30, so that's a group of about 60 people. Man, there better be 20 plan showers or more, right? You get 60 people, you better have 20 people out there able to show the plan 2-on-1s, HBPs. Okay, that's the only way it grows. You get to 100, right? Man, you better have 40 people out there being able to show the plan. You get to 200, then it probably won't matter, but at 200, you better have 100 plan showers. Right? That's the way that it grows forever. And that's back to how do you show the plan and drawing it out. That's back to the other reason we're not seeing that is because if people are using flip charts and videos, they are not owning that plan. I need you to be able to show it any place, anytime, pull out a napkin and show the plan. That's all we had back in the old days. The minute we had videos and tools, all of that slowed down. And the only thing I can attribute it to is back in the old days, we had all kinds of plan showers because that was the only way you did it, was draw it out. Okay, you can have a cheat sheet and stuff. It doesn't, it's not a test. I'm just telling you, carry something in your wallet. Okay? When we used to do the UBPs, the second looks that were called back then, literally you would stand up there with 3x5 cards going through them as we were doing the UBPs. Because we were drawing it on a whiteboard. Okay, we don't do the cards now because you got a PowerPoint that cues you on what to say next. Okay, but it was very common to be up there with 3x5 cards as you're reading off of that, going through the UBP, but drawing it out, putting your prospect's name in there, putting their their customers, their who do they know kind of thing. And then the other part of that is if you showed somebody the plan every day, when do you start working on trying to get to who they know? Right away. That's the other big mistake I've seen people do. And again, that part you've used in flip charts with Tom and Sue on there, if they don't know Tom and Sue, then conversation doesn't come up. But when you're drawing it out, by the time I'm done drawing the plan, we usually have 4, 5, 6 names in that plan. Great, so what's stopping us from reaching out to Ryan? And they'll tell you what's stopping them. And then that's what you're going to keep following up with, get over those objections. But eventually they're going to say, hey, what's stopping us from reaching out to Ryan? Well, nothing. Great, so how would you go about doing that? Is that a text? Is that a phone call? Is that at work the next day? And then you're getting into the micromanaging of somebody's names list. Okay, but that starts right away. It doesn't start after you've taken, and sent somebody to a local and a UBP and a new distributor training, a basic 5. Leading to others starts immediately. And trust me, you get somebody activated and they start earning checks, they go to the trainings very willingly because now it's pertinent. There's nothing worse than training somebody to death on something that's not pertinent because they're not activated or not making any money or whatever. Okay, and then you're doing things as a team and a group and all that stuff falls into place if one major activity is being taken place. Good, questions? Has this been helpful?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you feel like you can look at anybody in the eye and show them exactly what it takes to get to a six-figure income?
Yep.
I mean, you add re-entries to this and IBV to this and whatever, it's a lot more than six figures at those numbers.
Water,
Good.
right.
What's that?
Water if you need it.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome.
Do it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think I did anything that's unreasonable or not able to draw out, right? And you know what? You could do the same thing on the 6-year plan. I think it's a little harder, but get to 2 people every 6 months. That still gets you to a six-figure income in 6 years. Not so bad, is it? And now you're showing a plan every other week as a group or a team. But you're the number one. When you're evaluating your team and what's going on, I'll ask people all the time, great, how many plans have been shown between you and your team? Right? If you're sitting on a team with 30 people, right? Oh, we're just not growing, what's going on? Great. How many plans are being shown between you and your team? Right? That's the evaluation. If you got 30 partners and in the next 4 months there's only 10 plans that are being shown, you're just not growing. Go ahead.
On the topic of duplication, how do we ensure that we are increasing the amount of plan showers? Does it just happen with the numbers, or so
Honestly,
we don't?
I think the number one thing is people drawing this plan out.
Okay.
This new person, I'm training them how to draw the plan. We're practicing that. We're having them practice on a couple people. Now, when we're going to these 2 people, we're showing the plan for them and with them. But in that practice, in that time period, they've also practiced drawing it out. And by the time it gets to here, this person's coming along, right? And by the time it gets to here, this person is starting to be the one doing the 2-on-1s. That makes sense? And not in every case, all right? If you've got only half the people, even a little less than that, showing plans, comfortable showing the plan, that is more than enough to go on this growth pattern. That makes sense? But if you've got 1 out of 30 showing the plan, that's a problem. And we've got every tool in the world, right? How many times do we hear, well, we got the video and this, that, and the other. Great, we have all the tools, but are you guys seeing plans being shown all the time? No, it's because they're not confident with it. They're afraid somebody might say, hey, stop the video and answer this question. You draw that out on a piece of paper, you can answer anything. And you're excited to answer it, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. So did we make copies of the 10 steps?
No, we can get them though. I have.
Okay, and then we posted them, right? Is that the whole thing?
Yeah.
So, what your team needs to go over is this. This kills me. They don't even have this published anymore. So, who's our top earner in the company? Elizabeth Weber. Okay. Well, maybe Joe and I don't know. Maybe they're equal now. But, so the 3rd year in the business, J.R. Reininger went to Elizabeth Weber and said, you got to do me a favor. You're the top earner, you're breaking all records, yada, 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 yada. Do me a favor. I need you to put on paper exactly how you do it. And Elizabeth Weber, in like 1995 or 1996, created the document, the 10 steps to effective duplication. Okay? And you guys should post it in the teams and everybody should print this out. You can't even find it in the back office anymore. It used to be part of the Getting Started guide. Okay, who has seen this? I mean, I know I met with you guys. Had you seen it before then? Had you ever seen it before then?
That was when I was on MA Legacy Builders.
It was on there then, right? It kills me we don't find this anymore. You know what this says? What is step 1 with a new person? Create a names list. All right, we gotta have somebody to show the plan to. What is step 2? An answer to what is it? You have to have a description of what your business is, right? And we still have some of that, but I own an internet franchise. I'm not trying to recruit people, I'm not trying to get crazy. Just if somebody asks me, hey, what's your business? Oh, I own one of those internet franchises. As if they know what it is. That's my answer to what is it. Now they come back and they say, well, what do you mean? What is that? Well, it's just like any franchise, like a Subway or McDonald's, but these franchises are virtual. That's it. And then they come back to me again, well, what are you talking about? I mean, what do you mean? and then I'll go into a little bit more description. Hey, if you own a McDonald's restaurant, is it your job to come up with the next Happy Meal toy? Is it your job to negotiate for bags? Is it your job to figure out if you're going to carry fish sandwiches or not? No, McDonald's Corporation does all that, right? Well, it's the same thing here. Market America is the parent company, but because we're virtual, we're not about any one thing. So Market America, the parent company, any possible way they can find a way to make money, they put the time, energy, and research into that. And when they find ways to make money, they just add that to my virtual franchise. If you go through that and somebody's shows no interest, they probably don't have a pulse. Right? I mean, between internet and franchising and whatever, it doesn't get any better than that, does it? Well, show me more, tell me more. Great, it really takes being in front of the computer to show you that virtual franchise. Show me now, great. I can do it on my phone now. I can do it on a napkin now, right? Or that's a great reason to get that appointment. So you have to have your answer to what is it. Then when you're working with the person, I gotta have approaches. How many approaches at minimum?
One,
20!
Oh.
We're gonna get through 20 plans.
20 approaches.
So you better be prepared to do 20 approaches, right? You better, work out that names list. I get through 20. Okay, well, what are those approaches? Direct, referral, evaluation, product, right? And I added challenge approach. Then what do? You make the appointment, right? And then you do 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, kickoffs, however, right? And then what? Well, then you may be plugging those people into corings and UBPs and other HVPs. And then what should you do? Follow up with the prospect. When do you stop following up with somebody?
When they're activated and made money.
When they're doing it themselves. When they're
That's
doing
right.
1, 2, 3.
That's the answer, okay? People are like, when do you stop following up? Well, when they register, or when they buy a ticket to the next event, or what? No, okay? You follow up until they're doing it on their own, or they're not interested, right? If you're not interested, then I'm gonna stop following up with you. Other than that, you're gonna stay in my calendar, and I'm gonna keep following up with this. Whether you register has no bearing on the follow-up, okay? I'm gonna keep following up with you as long as you're leading to others, right? Until you're doing it without me.
Yeah. Tom Holmes
Until you
says-
have your own calendar doing that process with or without me with other people.
Tom Holden said when he was here with you, actually, that he considers somebody a prospect until they've earned their first check.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. And then he works with them until they have at least 4 people on each side earning checks.
Yeah.
That's what secures that person. Does that make sense? Okay, but my follow-up, man, you see some of my calendars? Sometimes people's names are in my calendars 20 or 30 or 40 times. Okay, now those are people that are continuing to lead me to others and whatever. Some people jump on the bandwagon right away, and after 5 meetings, they've already got their own calendar, they're showing the plan and whatever. I'm just telling you, some people do it that quick. Okay, some don't. All right, but you got to keep that process going. It's that you follow up with them until they're doing it without you. That make sense? Okay. Follow up with prospects. All right. Do the names list. Work their names list. Work the ABC pattern. Work with them for 90 days. Measure, monitor, adjust, and control. And then guess what? Go back to step 1 with these people and make sure that's being implemented and continuing the process. That's it. Where does it say that you need to take the Nutrimetric class? Where does it say that you should be doing TLS classes? Right? Where does it say that you stop everything and just go to locals and regionals and all the other stuff? This is the entire business. Right? You make the names list, create the approaches, make sure the new person can answer what is it, have a 2-minute commercial, work out the approaches with them, show the plan to those business people, those prospects. If those people are interested, what do you do with them? Go to step 1. Have them make a names list, or work out, approaches, work out the answer to what is a 2-minute commercial, going through the process, who are they going to lead to, and then the people they lead to, what are we going to do with them?
Same thing.
Go to step 1. So again, it's a very simple business. Is there anything here complicated? I didn't say it was easy. I just said if we keep focused on the most important things, it's a very simple business. All right? And the gauge at any moment, any time in your business is whether plans are being shown or not. Now, this is just my belief. I'm just telling you, I mean, I know there's people that make it in TLS and Nutrimetrics and whatever. This is how I made it. This is the only thing that I know. This is the only thing I can teach. But the one thing I can tell you with this method is I can do it with anybody. I think it takes a certain person for TLS and a certain person with Nutrimetrics and a certain person to sell websites. There's nothing wrong with those areas, but I can look anybody in the eye and do this with them if they're willing to match my energy. And I'll take that business any day because that's stable and that includes the whole population. Right? I'm just telling you. And then the chances of duplicating that are very high. If I'm just doing it with Nutrimetrics, there's only so much you can duplicate that with. And TLS and selling websites. Okay? You can do this with anybody, and we did. We've shown that. Good?